So, welcome everybody. So, we're here and we're going to be talking about Tara, and the subtitle is You Are Tara. But we'll check about that. So, let's take a minute and just come back to breath. Let your mind slow down, focus on your breath for a second to quiet the mind, and then we'll generate our motivation. I'll talk a little bit at the beginning about Tantrayana and then get into the Tara practice. And then following the talk, we'll have a short meditation on Tara. Okay, let's start with calming our mind, watching the breath. And then let's cultivate our motivation. And since we'll be talking about a Buddhist practice, let's make sure our motivation is in accord with the Buddha's thinking. So come back to your heart of compassion, wishing self and others to be free from all sorts of suffering and unsatisfactory experiences. And love, wishing everybody equally to have happiness in its causes. So our spiritual practice is not done for our own happiness, our own well-being alone, but we place it very squarely in the context of being of benefit to all living beings. And specifically, following the path to full awakening so that we can be of the greatest benefit to all living beings. So generate that as your motivation, and I will do likewise, and then we will share the Dharma together. So the practice of Tara, who is a female manifestation of the Buddha, is a Vajrayana practice, or Tantrayana, and I think I should start by placing that in the context of all of Buddhism. So often in the West, they talk about three Buddhist traditions, Vipassana, Zen, and Vajrayana. And they talk about them as if they're three different types of Buddhism. This is not correct according to our Buddhist ancestors. Okay? So basically, there's two divisions. We have the fundamental vehicle, which teaches the four truths, the Eightfold Path. We take refuge, we take precepts, and then the Mahayana, or the universal vehicle, which enriches our practice with bodhicitta, okay? So bodhicitta being the aspiration to attain full awakening to benefit others. So in the fundamental vehicle, we started out with the four immeasurables. In the Mahayana, that gets enhanced to become the bodhicitta motivation, aiming for full awakening. Within the Mahayana, first, within the fundamental vehicle, okay, that's where we find Theravada Buddhism. What is called Vipassana in America is a form of meditation on the nature of reality that is found in all the Buddhist traditions. So it's a style of meditation. The people who brought it back to America brought it back from Burma, Thailand, the Southeast Asia area, where Theravada Buddhism is very popular. And so they brought the meditation technique and call it Vipassana, but Vipassana actually is a meditation technique, not a form of Buddhism. And it's found in all the traditions, although it is practiced differently in the different traditions. Okay, so that would be what we would call under the fundamental vehicle, and then Theravada. Based on the fundamental vehicle practice, then we practice Mahayana, which includes that bodhicitta motivation. There's different kinds of Mahayana. We have Zen, Pure Land, Huayan, what else? Many different kinds in China and Korea and Japan. And Vajrayana is one of the subdivisions of Mahayana. So it's not a totally different kind of Buddhism. It is practiced on the basis of the general Mahayana teachings, which are practiced on the basis of the general fundamental vehicle teachings. Okay, so then within the Vajrayana, there's the practice of many different deities who are manifestations of the Buddha's omniscient mind, appearing in different physical forms. Okay, why do they appear in different physical forms? Because we are sentient beings who relate to sense objects. Yeah, so they appear in a way that that we can relate to. So when you look at Tara, okay, and there's many different forms of Tara, okay, many. We have a praise to the 21 Taras. There's also a list of 108 Taras, and I'm sure there's even more for those who like to count higher. But we'll stick with one of the prominent forms of Tara, which is green Tara. There's another one that is white Tara that's also very popular, red Tara, and so on. But right today, we'll stay with green Tara, okay? So green Tara, to get a sense of how the physical form exhibits or embodies her mental characteristics. She's sitting down on a lotus, okay? Her left leg is tucked in. Her right leg is extended as if she's almost about to stand up out of her lotus seat, okay? Her hands, the left, the ring finger and the thumb are touching. The other three fingers are up, and they're holding a lotus, blossoming at her ear. Yeah. In fact, I think it's 3 lotuses, isn't it? So you have one lotus that is just about to open, one that is opening, and one that is fully opened. And so that represents the Buddhas of the past, the present, and the future. Okay, and the lotus is by her ear. Her other hand, also holding a lotus, is down on her knee with the palm extended like that. You can't see, but on her knee with the palm open facing outward. Okay, so, and then she has jewels. She's wearing jewels and celestial silks. And her body is made of light, okay, a very beautiful green emerald shade of light. Okay, so all this has symbolic meaning to help us tune into the qualities of a Buddha, okay? So first of all, the green color, yeah, it's springtime now. We see green all around. And so green represents growth, renewal. Okay, so that's her green color. We're renewing, we're growing. Okay, don't think of money. That's green. That's not the point. Okay, then her body's made of light. So that is representing that her body appears that its nature is empty of inherent existence, but it is appearing as a dependent arising. So it's appearing as like an illusion, something that it looks like it's really there and you can grasp onto it, but actually she exists by being merely designated by term and concept. So that's the having a body of light. Her left hand, like this, the thumb and the ring finger together symbolize dependent arising and emptiness as coming to the same point. And the three fingers upright represent the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, our refuge objects. So she embodies all the qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Her other hand, her right hand on her right knee with the palm out, is extending help to sentient beings. She's reaching out to help sentient beings, to guide us to full awakening, to do whatever she can to benefit us while we're in samsara, and especially to get us out of samsara. Her left leg that's tucked in represents having full control of all the winds and channels and drops in the body. And her right leg stretched out, like I said, she's about ready to stand up from the lotus, going out to be of actual benefit, practical benefit to sentient beings. Okay, so you can see by how she looks, it's giving us a hint of the qualities of a Buddha. The jewels that she's wearing, what she's decorated by, are the six perfections. We ordinary beings wear jewels because we don't think we look good enough the way we are. Tara does not care about how she looks, okay? Her jewels are representing the qualities of generosity, ethical conduct, fortitude, joyous effort, meditative stability, wisdom, skillful means, power, unshakable resolve, and exalted wisdom. So, that's what adorns her, the inner qualities, okay? So she doesn't try and put on an image for anybody. She doesn't care how she looks, and she's sitting there being completely open and receptive, okay? Very unlike how we often sit, which is like this. Okay, what does this mean when we sit? Okay, it doesn't indicate openness, does it? It doesn't indicate being relaxed. It's kind of a defensive thing of, I'm strong, and anyway, they're taking a picture of me and I don't know what to do with my arms, so I put them like this. Okay, but it's not an open posture, whereas she's sitting in a very open, exposed posture. So completely open to what life brings. And one of the qualities that Tara radiates, because her body isn't just green light, it's radiating green light, is a very joyful energy. And I know in my own personal practice of Tara, I've often turned to her when I have difficulties, because she is joyous and she doesn't get bummed out when there's problems, okay? We get really bummed out and we get depressed. We fall into despair about the state of the world. Tara doesn't go through any of that kind of stuff. Why? Okay, why? If she has great compassion that cares more about other living beings than about herself, you would think that she would get depressed seeing others suffering. But she doesn't. Why? Because she sees that the suffering is actually unnecessary. It's something that comes about due to causes, and those causes can be counteracted. There are antidotes to those causes. And so knowing that that the sentient beings that she cares about suffer only because of their ignorance and their mental afflictions, and knowing that those can be removed, they are not part of the nature of the mind, then she remains joyful and very optimistic, okay? Because to her, change and impermanence is indicating that sentient beings can improve their state of mind and become Buddhas, okay? So there's a story about Tara before she became a Buddha. I don't know all the details of the story, but she was a princess, and she was liberating all these sentient beings from samsara. So many before breakfast, so many before lunch, so many before dinner, so many before she went to bed, teaching sentient beings the path, guiding them on the path to awakening. And at some point, some monks came up and said, wow, you're doing such a good job being a benefit to sentient beings. In your next life, you should pray to be a man. And she said, thank you very much, guys, for the suggestion, but I'm very happy as a woman, and I intend to remain as a female manifestation until samsara ends. So some people really like that story. Yeah. It doesn't mean that this is only a practice for women. Okay, this is very important. We don't choose meditational deities based on their gender, because actually, once you're a Buddha, you don't have a gender. You don't have, Buddhists don't have women's and men's bathrooms, and they don't have legislatures that care which bathroom you go into. You are completely androgynous as a Buddha. Your mind is awakened. You don't have these kind of ego things, okay? So, but Tara's, the joy, you can feel the joy from her radiant, posture. And also the sound of her mantra is very joyous. Yeah, there's one way where we chant it that is really nice. Om Tare Tutare Tare Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tare Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tare Soha. So you can feel with that melody, yeah, there's some joy. You can also say the mantra very quickly. Om Tare Tutare Tare Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tare Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tare Soha. Okay, but so there's different ways to do it. But the energy, the vibration of the mantra is something, that builds your confidence to be able to not only succeed in your practice, but to be of great benefit to sentient beings. One of my teachers, Lama Thubten Chodron, used to call her Mummy Tara. And he explained because, most people feel quite close to their mothers, yeah, and so she's kind of like our mother. You get stuck in your practice, and her speciality is removing obstacles and bringing success. Yeah, so kind of like, when you're little and you get stuck somewhere, your mom comes and helps you out. So, similarly in our practice or in our life in practical matters, if we're stuck, we can turn to Tara, for this kind of energy. It's really quite beautiful. So her speciality, success, growth, eliminating obstacles, and also in terms of eliminating obstacles, eliminating diseases and epidemics and pandemics. Okay, so His Holiness Dalai Lama has recommended that we chant Tara's mantra as much as possible to help the COVID pandemic disappear. Okay, so it's a very good practice to do now. Mm-hmm. So in the Tara practice, there's one prayer, okay, that is, by the way, her name Tara means to liberate. Yeah, so she's Tara the Liberator. So there's one prayer that talks about her liberating sentient beings from the 8 dangers. And it was composed by the first Dalai Lama, Gyalwa Genden Drop. He lived in the late 14th, early 15th century. Okay, so in each of the verses of this prayer for Tara liberating from the 8 dangers, it talks of an external danger like a lion or chains or spirits or something, and an internal danger, a mental affliction that keeps us trapped in samsara. And so it puts the outer and the inner affliction together. So I'll read you these 8 verses. They're quite beautiful, and there's something in them to meditate about just in doing quiet reflection, or what we call analytic meditation. So, dwelling in the mountains of wrong views of selfhood, puffed up with holding itself superior, it claws other beings with contempt. The lion of pride, please protect us from this danger. So it's talking about pride and arrogance, and how that causes us suffering. It stems from the wrong views of thinking that there's an inherently existent me. It puffs ourselves up to make ourselves more important than we actually are. We become full of contempt and claw other beings like a lion because of our contempt. And so seeing the danger of arrogance and pride, the danger that it creates in how we treat other people and causing them pain due to our arrogance, and also arrogance being an internal obstacle that we have to overcome to become fully awakened. So an internal and an external hindrance. Okay, the second one is the elephant of ignorance. And the verse goes, not tamed by the sharp hooks of mindfulness and introspective awareness, dulled by the maddening liquor of sense pleasures, it enters wrong paths and shows its harmful tusks. The elephant of ignorance, please protect us from this danger. So we're requesting Tara. We're actually requesting Tara's compassion and wisdom, which means that we're requesting our own compassion and wisdom to be nourished and to increase, okay, so that we can be free from this elephant of ignorance. Okay, so it compares ignorance to the maddening liquor of sense pleasure. So we all know when you take drugs and alcohol, yeah, it is mind altering, isn't it? Yeah. And we often say and do things under the influence of intoxicants that we would not usually say and do. And some of the things we say and do, we really regret afterwards. I don't know about you, but before I became a nun, I did some pretty stupid things under the influence. So here, It's not just liquor. It's not just a crazed elephant running around that's maddened, but it's what we do under the influence of ignorance. Yeah. And how that ignorance doesn't understand karma and its effects. It can't discriminate virtue from non-virtue, what to practice from what to abandon. And so we just kind of do any old things without any mindfulness that ties our mind to a virtuous object, and without any introspective awareness that monitors the mind and makes sure that it's tied to a virtuous object. Okay, so may we be protected from that danger. When we say, Tara, please protect us, it's not that, we sit back and have some tea and cookies and maybe some ice cream, and we let Tara do all the work, and then she goes, boom, your ignorance is obliterated. Yeah, it's not like that, because the Buddhas have, like I said, have more compassion for us than we have for ourselves. If they could have eliminated our mental afflictions, they would have done that already, because there is no purpose from the point of view of an awakening one for to leave sentient beings in their misery. Yeah. So what they say, that the power of our karma and the power of a Buddha to benefit us are equal. Yeah. So if we just sit back and drink tea and munch on cookies and think that Tara is going to do all the work, it's not going to happen. Yeah. We have to participate. Yeah. And our changing our mind, our following the Buddhist practice is what actually is going to do it. Okay. The third one is the fire of anger. So driven by the wind of inappropriate attention, billowing forth swirling smoke clouds of misconduct, it has the power to burn down forests of goodness. The fire of anger, please protect us from this danger. So we often think other people's anger is dangerous. My anger is justified. Okay. Sorry, that's not going to fly either. Okay. Why? Because we have inappropriate attention or distorted conceptualizations that interpret external situations through the very narrow periscope of me, I, my, and mine. In other words, I'm the center of the universe, and everything that occurs is funneled through that perspective. A little bit limiting, don't you think? Yeah, there's how many billions, trillions, zillions of sentient beings in this universe, and we interpret it through the ignorant eyes of one of them. Okay, so with anger, we're exaggerating the negative qualities of someone or something, and then wanting to destroy it, either by directly harming it or by running away from it and refusing to engage. Okay, so this does not help us, and it certainly doesn't help those around us, and we can see very clearly what's happening in the world because of anger. Okay, so may we be freed from that too, that danger. Okay, next one is the snake of jealousy. Yeah, you have a visualization of a really nasty snake lurking in its dark pit of ignorance, unable to bear the wealth and excellence of others. It swiftly injects them with its cruel poison. The snake of jealousy Please protect us from this danger. Okay, so based on ignorance, jealousy cannot stand the wealth, the opportunities, the realizations, the good qualities of anybody else. Okay, so jealousy and pride are quite related. They're both based on comparing ourselves to others. But with jealousy, others come out ahead and I cannot endure it. Okay, so what do I try and do? Harm them. So when we think of the things we've done motivated by jealousy, it's not something to be proud of, is it? So again, it hinders us in our spiritual practice, and jealousy also interferes in our relationships with other people. You certainly can't be friends with somebody that you are jealous of. Everything gets completely twisted. Okay, the next one is the thieves of distorted views. Roaming the fearful wilds of inferior practice and the barren wastes of absolutism and nihilism, they sack the towns and hermitages of benefit and bliss. The thieves of wrong views, please protect us from this danger. Okay, so wrong views, it mentions two types: absolutism, which reifies things, thinking things are inherently existent with their own essence that makes them what they are, and nihilism, which goes to the other extreme and says, well, if things don't have their own essence, then anything goes, then they're all really illusions, they're all dreams. So I can do what I want as long as I don't get caught. And this, again, brings a lot of harm. Okay. And we see people under the influence of wrong views that, get very confused spiritually, again, about what to practice, what to abandon. What do I really believe in? What path am I following? What am I trying to attain through my spiritual practice? And then coming up with all sorts of wrong views. And so here's where our reliance on the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is very important. And it's not based on blind faith. There's a beautiful exposition in Nagarjuna's verses on the Middle Way that prove the existence of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha based on dependent arising, based on things being empty of inherent existence. So if we learn this, it's too detailed for me to put in a short talk like this, but it's really incredible, and it can help us gain faith in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha and the Buddhist path through using reasoning and logic. And this is what His Holiness the Dalai Lama always encourages us to do. Why? Because if we believe in something based on reasoning and based on experience, it's going to be steady. If we believe in something simply because it sounds good or because the person who taught it is very charismatic, then the next time somebody else comes who's just as charismatic and gives us some other philosophy, then our minds will change and we'll follow something else. Okay, so we get quite confused spiritually. Okay, the next one, the chain of miserliness. Okay, binding embodied beings in the unbearable prison of cyclic existence with no freedom. It locks them in craving's tight embrace. the chain of miserliness, please protect us from this danger. Okay, so miserliness keeps us bound in cyclic existence, and it's related to craving. When we crave something, craving's tight embrace. You know, when you want something, you crave it. You're like this. And when you got it, you're not letting it go. Okay? And so we get very stingy, very miserly, very possessive. Yeah? And again, we can see what a big hindrance that is on the path. Have you ever heard of a stingy Buddha? You know, it just doesn't, that's like an angry Buddha or an ignorant Buddha or a, you know, Buddha, a greedy Buddha. You know, there is no such thing. So miserliness obscures our own mind. And also it prevents us from practicing the bodhisattva deeds, the first of which is generosity. Then the next one is the flood of attachment. Okay, so sweeping us in the torrent of cyclic existence, so hard to cross, where, conditioned by the propelling winds of karma, we are tossed in the waves of birth, aging, sickness, and death. The flood of attachment, please protect us from this danger. So attachment exaggerates the good quality of someone or something and then clings. Yeah. So I remember there used to be a song that was "Love Makes the World Go Round." Yeah. From a Buddhist viewpoint, attachment makes the world go round. Yeah. Attachment or craving is the example that the Buddha uses when he speaks of the truth, the second truth, the truth of the origin of our dukkha or our unsatisfactory circumstances. Okay, so attachment is like that. It's gooey. It's like bubble gum, you know. A mind of attachment, whatever it likes, it sticks to it. Yeah? And so there's danger in our life of becoming greedy, possessive, and so on under the influence of attachment. But also at the time of death, craving, clinging are they're forms of attachment. This is what propels us into the next life. It's the craving and clinging that make the specific karmas ripen that then propel us to take a rebirth. Yeah. So attachment is dangerous. Okay. The difficulty with attachment is when we get what we like, we feel good. So we think, oh, attachment's good. Look, I was successful. I have this, I have that, I'm respected, I'm loved, I'm appreciated, I got promoted, I have this talent, and everybody in the world admires me. And all of it is so impermanent. All you need is a slight change in external conditions, and it all goes. Okay? But the attachment at the end of our life that propels us into the next life, that's also really dangerous. So it's like a flood. Attachment's like a flood, you know. We're caught in it, and you go, whoom, you know. Next one, the carnivorous demon of doubt. Roaming in the space of darkest confusion, tormenting those who strive for ultimate aims. It is viciously lethal to liberation. The carnivorous demon of doubt. Please protect us from this danger. Okay, so doubt roams in the space of darkest confusion. Okay, tormenting those who strive for ultimate aims. So they say doubt And it's referring to deluded doubt or afflictive doubt, doubt that is inclined towards the wrong conclusion. And it's a wrong spiritual conclusion. It's not the wrong conclusion about who to vote for, okay, or something like that. So doubt, they say, is like trying to sew with a two-pointed needle. Yeah, you have a two-pointed needle. You stick it in your fabric, what happens? You are stuck. So anybody who tries to practice with doubt in their mind, they get stuck. As soon as they start, the mind starts going, is this the correct path? Is this the correct teacher? Is enlightenment possible? I don't think so. But maybe, I don't know about this path. It's kind of weird. Maybe it's not the right path. I should try something else. I don't know if enlightenment's possible. Anyway, I doubt myself. Am I qualified? Can I really do this? Yeah, difficult to practice with doubt. Okay, and then the last verse is a dedication verse. So here we're really dedicating the merit, but appealing to Tara again for her guidance. Through these praises and requests to you, quell conditions unfavorable for Dharma practice. Let us have long life, merit, glory, plenty, and other conducive conditions as we wish. So really requesting Tara to be our friend on the path and to help us have good external and internal conditions for Dharma practice. But remember, her guidance is always there, and she's, reaching out, ready to help us. It's us. We're not the ones who are taking her outstretched hands. Yeah, we're the ones who are going, oh, I want to go to bed. I'm tired. I want to go out with my friends. Meditation is too boring. Studying the Dharma, I don't understand what these words mean. And the sentences translated from Tibetan are the length of a paragraph. Can't we just have something easy? Yeah. Well, if the path to awakening were easy, we would have accomplished it already. Okay? So it's going to take some effort. But if we have Tara, as our role model of somebody who can practice with joy and practice consistently and steadily and reach out and benefit sentient beings, then our practice will go so much more smoothly. So I wanted to also show you that a book that I wrote about Tara some years ago. It's called How to Free Your Mind, the Practice of Tara the Liberator. And so it describes Tara. It goes through the prayer with the 8 dangers that I covered during the talk. There it also has another beautiful prayer written by a very young Lama in praise of Tara. It talks about who she is, what the symbolism of her body, and how to do the practice so that it really develops our spiritual qualities. Okay, so How to Free Your Mind, the Practice of Tara the Liberator.